The definition of welding is the joining of metal pieces by heating up the surfaces to the point of melting using a blowtorch, electric arc, or other means, and uniting them by pressing, hammering, etc. The four most common types of welding that are MIG, TIG, stick, and flux cord arc welding. But first, the tools we need to start is auto darkening welding helmet, face shield, leather boots, safety glasses, welder's leather jacket, friction lighter, gauntlet type welder's gloves, soapstone with soapstone holder, chipping hammer, welder's cap, hand wire brush, angle grinder, combination square, pipe liner file, grinding disc, sanding disc, water wheels, cutoff wheels, steel tape measure, tip cleaner, earplugs, pipe handle, electric holder, and driver work gloves. Now you are ready to start on two basic types of welding, stick and MIG. Let's talk safety. The first thing is protection from ultraviolet and infrared radiation. To protect from blinding, use a welding hood with proper shade dark lens. The minimum shade is a number 8 lens, however the recommended is a number 10. The helmet should cover the entire face and neck and be free of any cracks or other light leaks. The next thing we need to protect is our skin. You should wear long sleeve shirts of heavy natural fiber. Should be worn along with long gauntlet welding gloves to protect the skin from ultraviolet and infrared radiation. The second thing we need protection from is hot sparks emitted from welding. Wear safety glasses under your hood and wear a welder's cap with a bill to cover the back of your neck. Wear leather boots with no laces. Next, we need to protect ourselves from the fumes. Always weld in well ventilated areas and keep your head away from the plume of smoke. Finally is electric shock. Make sure you are insulated from electrical parts and make sure your gloves have no holes. Stay dry. Change sweaty gloves to dry gloves. Now let's move on to the first type of welding. MIG welding, also known as gas metal arc welding, is an arc welding process that uses continuous wire delivered from a spool and fed through a welding gun manipulated by an operator or an automated device. The weld puddle is protected by a shielding gas, which is also delivered through the welding gun to cover the weld puddle. If this shielding gas wasn't here, then the oxygen and other gases surrounding the weld would enter the weld and turn out like this. Now, even though there is a gas shield, it is only there to protect the weld, not you, from the heat. The temperature of the welding arc can vary from 10,000 to 40,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Now on MIG, you can adjust the voltage depending on the type of metal you're working on. For thin metals like sheet metal, you will use somewhat low voltage to cause short circuiting, which is perfect for thin metals. Globular occurs at intermediate levels of voltages and is in the form of spatter and large filler metal droplets. And finally, the spray will happen at somewhat high voltages. The filler metal is deposited as very small droplets across a constant arc. It is very useful for thick materials. In MIG welding, you will be using a welding gun. The gun is made up of a lot of parts, but it can be narrowed down to 3 parts: the wire feeder, the wire lead, and the gun itself. These 3 pieces are essential for MIG welding. Now let's move on to the next form of welding. Stick welding, also known as shielded metal arc welding. This is a different process than MIG welding. While in MIG welding, you use a gun. In stick welding, you use electrodes covered in flux coating. Now instead of changing the voltages, we'll be changing the amperage. Now stick welding, you don't have to change the amperage to work on different types of metal, but when you do change to amperage, you would change the speed in which you have to work. The higher the amperage, the faster you have to work. There are less parts to stick welding, so we can list them all: the electrode, the electrode holder, electrode cable, power source, ground cable, ground clamp, and the workpiece. Now, unlike in MIG stick welding, will leave a protective slag that you can remove and clean off before you start your next weld. It will make it much easier to start. Now for the different positions. There is 1F, 2F, 3F, 4F, 1G, 2G, 3G, and 4G. The F stands for fillet and the G stands for groove. 1F is positioned at a 45-degree angle. 2F is positioned horizontally. 3F is welding upward and 4F is overhead. The same things can be said about groove welds. The positions can be done by both stick and MIG.